Seducing women is easy, actually, especially when you know the psychology behind it. Most guys complicate things, but the truth is, women are wired in predictable ways, and if you understand how their minds work, you're already ahead of the game. Once you master this, getting her attention and keeping her hooked becomes effortless. Let me show you how. Go inside her world. Think about your everyday interactions. Most people are more focused on themselves than on the person in front of them. It's natural. We get caught up in our own thoughts, worries, and stories. But when you shift that focus onto someone else, specifically the woman you're talking to, it's a game changer. Women are used to people talking about themselves or trying to impress them. When you make her the focus of your attention, you stand out instantly. The psychological principle at play here is called reciprocity of attention. When you make someone feel like they're the most interesting person in the room, they start to feel a natural inclination to reciprocate that interest. They feel valued, and this makes them more curious about you. Think of her as an undiscovered world, full of experiences, stories, and emotions that you're genuinely curious to learn about. Ask about her passions, her experiences, and her life. People love to talk about themselves, and when you give them that space to do so, you're already forming a deeper connection than most people ever do. This is especially powerful because it's so rare in today's world. The simple act of being present and attentive makes you incredibly attractive. Make her talk about her childhood. Everyone carries a deep emotional connection to their childhood. Those early years shape who we are, and when we talk about them, we tap into some of our most powerful feelings. If you can steer the conversation towards her childhood without being too obvious, you're creating a powerful emotional bond. Instead of asking, "Tell me about your childhood," guide the conversation subtly. Ask about where she grew up, her favorite childhood memories, or what her family was like. These questions are non-threatening and allow her to explore those formative experiences. Psychologically, discussing childhood memories evokes strong emotions because these moments are often tied to nostalgia, joy, or even unresolved feelings. This emotional openness helps to build trust and rapport. The art of mirroring is one of the most potent psychological techniques you can use in conversation. It's the art of subtly reflecting someone's emotions, gestures, or even experiences back at them. When done right, it makes the other person feel like you're on the same wavelength. But here's the key: it has to be subtle. If it's too obvious, it can come off as fake or manipulative. Let's say she's talking about a memorable family vacation. If you've had a similar experience, don't jump in and make it about you, but do find a way to relate. For example, you could say, "That sounds amazing. I had a similar experience once, and it was unforgettable." What you're doing is aligning your emotions with hers, showing that you can understand and relate without overshadowing her story. The psychology here is all about emotional validation. When people feel like their feelings and experiences are acknowledged and understood, they naturally feel closer to the person who validated them. Mirroring helps you build that emotional bridge, making her feel like you're someone who truly gets her. And when someone feels understood, attraction follows naturally. Find her emotional triggers. Pay close attention to what makes her light up during the conversation. When she talks about a specific topic and her energy changes, whether she laughs, gets excited, or even becomes nervous, you've found an emotional trigger. This is where her passions lie, and when you touch on these points, you can steer the conversation into areas where she feels deeply engaged. Psychologically, these triggers are like emotional hotspots. When someone talks about something they're passionate about, they become more animated, and their defenses come down. You can see it in her body language. She leans in, her voice changes, or she smiles more. Once you identify these triggers, revisit them later in the conversation. Not only does this show that you were paying attention, but it also allows her to continue talking about something she cares about. People are drawn to those who make them feel excited and alive. By identifying these emotional triggers, you're positioning yourself as someone who understands what makes her tick, and that's incredibly attractive. Plant the seeds of desire. Seduction isn't about grand gestures or bold statements. The most effective seduction is subtle. It's about planting seeds of desire that take root in her mind, growing long after your conversation is over. This is where body language and small, suggestive comments come into play. One powerful tool is the contrast between your words and your actions. For instance, while your words may be neutral or casual, your body language, your eye contact, the way you lean in, or how you smile, can suggest something entirely different. Psychologically, this creates a sense of intrigue. She's left wondering what you really meant, and that curiosity can be intoxicating. Another technique is using open loops in conversation. Make a comment that's slightly mysterious or suggestive, then don't explain it fully. For example, you might say something like, "There's something about you that's really interesting, but I'll tell you later." This leaves her curious, thinking about what you meant long after the conversation has ended. When someone is thinking about you, even after you're gone, it's a sign that you've already started the seduction process. Keep her on her toes. Human psychology loves mystery. We're naturally drawn to things that are slightly out of reach, things that we can't fully understand or explain. When you maintain an air of mystery, you become more intriguing. This doesn't mean being vague or evasive, but it does mean not laying all your cards on the table right away. For example, don't tell her everything about yourself in one sitting. Instead, drop hints or stories about your life that leave her wanting to know more. If she asks about your past or your interests, share a bit, but not the whole story. This creates what psychologists call the Zeigarnik effect, where people remember incomplete tasks or stories more than completed ones. She'll keep thinking about the pieces of the puzzle you've given her, wanting to know more. Mystery keeps her engaged. If she feels like there's more to discover about you, she'll naturally want to spend more time with you. This slow reveal of your personality and life experiences makes the process of getting to know you exciting rather than predictable. So, what kind of man do you want to be? The one who's always there, or the one who she's always hoping to hear from? The answer is yours. Before you go, here's something to think about. If you're still struggling to communicate effectively with women, you might be missing out on deeper connections and opportunities. Don't let that hold you back. Check out this video right here, How to Master the Art of Communicating with Women and Take Your Skills to the Next Level. Hit the like and subscribe button. Until then, signing off from Far From Nice.